Okay, so we're gonna solder the lid or the bottom of the box. Oh no, I guess that would be the bottom of the box. And so just a reminder about your solder. We're using medium solder, and I've just gone in, you can pickle it, but I'm just going in because I'm at my bench, and just roughing it up a little bit. And I'm going to cut my solder, if I can find my, oh, there they are, shears over by the pickle, not a good place for them. So cutting my, these are about 1 millimeter strips of solder. I can cut quite a bit. If this were a whole bunch of, if this was a giant piece of yellow gold solder or gold solder, I certainly wouldn't be cutting up a huge piece, huge amount like this. And I'm just going to straighten these out, get it nice and straight. And you know what I'm going to do as well is I'm actually going to paint on a little tiny bit of flux directly onto these pieces, or onto the just a little bit, just that way. We're going to try this new style. Okay, and I just did that because I did want to put a little tiny bit of flux onto my, here. I'm going to cut my pieces into this. Okay, fairly large, like 2.5 mil to 3 mil. I used the perfect amount of solder last time. I think I used 8 pieces, and they tended to be about, you know, 2 to 3 millimeters long. These ones are a little small maybe that I have here, but let's try that. Placing them around the edge. Here we are. Let's get this piece in here. I'm actually going to put a piece too right by the seam from before. And I actually added, and you guys don't need to do this, but you could. I did add a couple pieces of solder actually right on the seam. I picked them up, and with the flux I stuck them on there, and they're hard solder just in case we have the solder runs, and it shouldn't. We're using medium solder this time, it should not, but just in case it were to flow, then I've got some solder that's going to run in there, but I don't think it will. I hope it doesn't. Okay, so I'm just trying to get this done fairly quickly. I'd prefer to have these standing up, okay? And the reason is it's going to be easier to clean them up later if they're standing up, because the tube will be easier to clean up than the edge, the rim of the lids here. Yeah. The discs. That's a little close. Oh, get on there. Not too much more needed. Tiny bit of water to my brush, placement. Okay, 1 or 2 more pieces. Yeah, these ones are a bit smaller, so I'm going to probably add 2. Don't need a very big one now. Alright, now I'm hoping I don't have, those two can sit together. They can be friends. Okay, making sure all these, yeah, should be touching the lower edge there. Oh, it was. Okay, good. This guy's fallen down. Let's just leave him there, though. Well, I don't know if I can do it. Hold on, let me get him set up properly. This is also would be a good reason to get it here, just in case. It will flow right into the seam as well, which would be kind of nice to fill it just a little bit. All right, finally. Okay, so we're set up there. I'm going to start soldering. Now this is a little trickier because I can't go inside, but I'm going to try and heat nice and evenly around. Okay. Okay, making sure those little pieces of solder don't jump off. Okay. This one will take a little bit longer. Now I know we haven't talked about solder inhibitors. An inhibitor means that it prevents it from flowing. And so sometimes you can use a solder inhibitor along the seam of your metal that you've soldered before. So we do have something called Safe White. I wonder if I can do this. It's okay. It's this stuff, and you should be able to get some from the. It's liquid paper essentially, correction fluid, and you can you paint it on the seam, and it does help prevent it from flowing. Okay, it doesn't mean it won't flow, but it does help prevent it. All right, I feel like I need to get a little hotter here. Coming around. I really wish I could go inside. It's getting a bit hotter. I'm just doing my soldering video, so I just can't chat right now. Okay, getting close. Okay, come on. Down to the lid, trying to get the heat down onto that disc. Ah, there we are. Okay, and down low. Yes, perfect. It did start climbing up the edge of the box. There we go. And there we are. Looks pretty good. Let's see, I kind of want to blow those little guys. Oh, good. There we go. All right. So there we have it. So we are not going to pickle at this point. We are going to leave it full of oxides, and then we'll start sawing. That's it. Okay, so let's take a look at the brass box now that we've sawn it open. So I left all the oxides on, I didn't pickle it, and I went ahead and I sawed it open. Once it was sawn open, I pickled it, and then I could take a look. Well, I had to actually reflow the solder because the solder hadn't flowed all the way in. Okay, so, and I did it for both the top and the bottom, and reflowed everything. I roughed up the solder a little bit just by emerying around the edge a tiny bit on the inside, and then I added a little bit of flux, which I really didn't want to do, but it really does help with the flow of the solder. So I reheated, pickled it, and everything looks good. Okay, so now what we need to do at this point, let's just take a look at our piece here. So we've checked to see if the solder seam was complete and free of pits, and so we took care of those. We pickled them. Now we need to file and sand the two parts to the correct height. Sorry, it's right here. Okay, so keep the edges of the tube parallel to the discs. Handle the two parts gently since the metal is annealed and will bend and dent easily. Okay, so resand the inside of the tube to 400 or clean with a 3M red abrasive pad. Remove all the copper oxides. And then we have what's called a PSA disc and a PSA holder, and you use a fine grit, only the finest one. You can sign them out from the tech office to clean the flat bottom. So what we need to do, we need to get into we need to file and emery these down to the correct heights. Get in here because we're going to be adding a sleeve in here that will help to hold the lid on. So we need to clean this all up now. So coming in here, we can get in with a piece of a little bit of this. We can cut this up, come in here. Okay, but then there are also some other tools that we can use for this. here's a, this is the PSA holder, okay, that fixes into your handpiece. And then there are a couple different grits of these discs. And you can make these discs as well by cutting out a round section of emery paper and using a piece of double-sided tape, okay? If we put this in, hold on, where's my key here? We can get in here. Now, if you're tilting on an edge, it's going to make a big dent in there, right? So you can come in like this and do a bit of this, do a bit of this. If you can get it mostly off with the red aluminum oxide, that's great. The other thing you can do is you can actually, instead of this piece, if you take this off, you can, again, do the same thing. Just put this on and go in to get the bottom. Okay, the bottom in here. This piece is a little too big. You can also just go around the edges here inside to get the oxides off, or going with a little emery. The one thing we don't want to do is start thinning out the edge or going in at angles, because then it's going to affect the roundness of this. And remember, we'll be making our sleeve, the part that fits in here, is going to be perfectly round, and we don't want to have huge gaps. Okay, so we have to be a bit careful. Okay, so just to review, filing down, making everything parallel as well. Remember, everything has to be parallel and 90 degrees to our tube. Cleaning out the inside, cleaning out here, same thing with the top, okay? And we can do that, and then we can make the sleeve, okay? Anything else I want to mention here? That's good for now. Then we're on to making the sleeve.